Hello, friends. Welcome to Shauna Stitches. I'm Shauna, and this is episode 26 of my series called State of the Stash. If you are new here or you're just starting out with some January 2025 goals, State of the Stash is a series that I created over 2 years ago now, where I am brutally honest with you all. I tell you all the yarn that comes into my stash and all the yarn that I get out of my stash, usually in the form of finished objects. State of the Stash has been something that has helped me with accountability and trying to rein in my purchases, because I definitely love to buy yarn, as I think most of us do if you're here, and it can be so tempting to just go crazy with abandon. So State of the Stash has helped me to reduce how much I buy, but I still buy yarn. And we're about to see a recap for December of 2024, and that will give us our yearly total for what we got out and in the stash in 2024. So, are you placing any bets? Did I come out ahead or behind of where I started the year? You're about to find out real soon. All right, so as usual, if you look down below, there are links to everywhere you can find me. That includes Ravelry, also project pages on my Ravelry, my email address, shaunastitchespodcast@gmail.com. I also have links to my Goodreads and an Ask Me Anything form. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. You can also leave a comment here or reach out in some other way. All right, so the first finished object I had in December were my super scrappy Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. I just love how these turned out. I used 11 colorways of self-striping yarn from Desert Vista Dyeworks, and I used a online or a phone app called Spin the Wheel, and I let that pick my colors. So I absolutely love how they turned out. They do not match, even though, there's a lot of the same colors in there, but I just think they came out so great. What I did was I took two of the self-striping yarns at the same time, and I alternated 2 row stripes. I will definitely make socks like this again. They just flew. I loved watching the color combinations unfold, and I just think they are so fun. So let me pull up my correct spreadsheet here. When I look down, I'm looking at my computer. There is no way I can remember all this off the top of my head. So these used a total of 83 grams. I did have some yarn come into stash, and boy, do I have a lot to show you. So the first thing that came into stash was this, and if you remember from State of the Stash in November, I showed you 3 skeins of this. It's Joanne brand KNC, which stands for Knit and Crochet. This is their sock star, and I got this for like $3 and some odd cents per skein, and I just couldn't pass it up. So I got the 3, and for some reason this one shipped separately. I ordered them at the same time, but this one has to count for December because it did not show up in November. So 1 skein of this, 100 grams. Oh, I should tell you the color. This is Dragon Fruit Splash Stripe. So, did I need more sock yarn? No, but I sure like it, so I'm not mad about it. Oh, the next thing I have to show you, acquisition. Let me see if I can even, here we go. The next thing that came into stash was Knit Picks Wonder Fluff. This is the color Moose Heather. And same thing, Wonder Fluff. This is the color Ripple Heather. So 600 grams of this came into my stash for a very specific project. That project is on the needles, and to be honest with you, I had every plan of it being off the needles already. This is, hard to show, this is the Timbo vest. And it's just a 2-color vest. It is knit flat, so I have to do some seaming. And I bought this yarn specifically for this project because I do not have bulky in my stash at all. And I searched and searched the internet, and these 2 colors happened to be on sale. and blue and brown just go so well together, even though they're not kind of my normal colors. This is what I ended up with. I know I'm not finished with that yet, but I have finished the blue. You see I have a whole entire skein left, as well as a chunk of another one. I ordered what I should have ordered, expecting to have a little bit left over, but the yardage in that pattern just doesn't seem too accurate. So I'm going to have leftovers. But unfortunately, since that is not finished, I cannot count it out of stash yet. I had every intention of finishing that on December 30th, and instead ended up getting a finger injury, which I will talk about more in my regular episode. But yeah, I had some really intense pain right in this joint, which I still have. So my knitting has greatly slowed, and I'm on some antibiotics and some steroids trying to get it better, but it was super swollen. So it's looking way better. I can make a fist now, so that's something, but I've really had to slow down on my knitting. So that was supposed to be done. It should be showing you a grams out for that, but unfortunately it's only grams in at this point. I guess that's a head start for January, right? Okay, and then let's see, I finished a bunch of little things, but they still count. The first one, here we go. This is 12 Days of Sparkly Baubles, Part 1, Day 1, which is just kind of a knit purl pattern. And this is some leftovers from my January Desert Vista Dyeworks socks for 2024. It's in the Teenage Ninja Turtles, which is supposed to be, you know, it's based on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. She just can't take the whole name. But anyway, I put this on the tree this year. That was really fun. My goal for 2025 is every finished object to finish a bauble. That way my tree is going to look real nice next year, but we'll see if I can stick to that. Oh, I forgot to mention, this used 6 grams. Okay, the next one, this is 12 Days of Sparkly Baubles, Part 1, Day 3, which has a faux cable. This is in the Desert Vista Dyeworks color Winter Rainbow, and it used 6 grams. And next up, shocker, another one. This is 12 Sparkly Days of Baubles, Part 1, Day 4. And it is in the color Crystal Ball Frap from Desert Vista Dyeworks. I can't tell. I think it's supposed to be an X. It's a bit hard to tell with the self-striping. Anyway, that used 6 grams. And a last one. This is 12 Days of Sparkly Baubles, Part 2, Day 5 in Desert Vista Dyeworks Spring Rainbow. So I got through the first 4 of my Desert Vista Dyeworks socks for last year, and I do want to keep working on those. How is it January 1st, and I feel like I am behind for the year already? It's not a good way to start. So yeah, each of those used 6 grams, so it adds up. And then I had more yarn come into my stash. Let's see, in the November episode of State of the Stash, I mentioned sending yarn for what we were calling the Insta Friends yarn swap. It was a small group of people on Instagram, and we each sent each other some yarn. So I was able to count yarn out for that, but this person sent me back more yarn than I sent, so technically I am a bit behind. This is the first skein. This is Kimber's Cozy Creations, which I have never ever had this person's yarn or knit with it. It is a one of a kind. I just love the speckle. So part of our swap, we were able to say, you know, what colors we liked, and I'm sure they had access to our Instagram and probably Ravelry as well. So they kind of knew the colors. The second one is this, and actually let me look at my notes because this does not have the band. This is Southern Skies, which also I've never even heard of and definitely have never had in my stash. It's a beautiful tonal variegated orange color. I don't know what this is going to end up as, but it will be something beautiful. And actually these two go together pretty darn well. So that was 200 grams into stash. And Okay, now I have a very big acquisition to show you, and I will try to explain myself. So my local yarn store, which I hesitate to call it my local yarn store, but it is the one most local to me. It used to be Candy Skein in Astoria, but Tammy, the dyer, had decided to sell her shop, go out of business, stop dyeing yarn. So that was the one that I called my local yarn store because Tammy is a very close friend of mine, and I have a lot of good memories there. And then it sold, and now it is Ocean Knits, but it is spelled O-S-H-E-N, Knits. And they were having a huge clearance sale to clear out some of the old yarn. And I wasn't going to go because obviously my goals are to, not buy so much yarn. And then I got an Instagram message from another local around here, and she had gone and she just said, "Oh, the deals are amazing." Plus, I found out they had some of Tammy of Candy Skein's yarn left. So I couldn't resist. I bought one skein of Tammy's yarn. This is Tempting Sock, which is an 80-10-10. So this is merino cashmere nylon in the color watermelon. And unfortunately, since she is not dyeing anymore, you can't get it, I guess, unless someone's destashing. But this is a very pretty pink. I could see this going in a Stephen West shawl at some point. Actually, doesn't it look a lot like that color? But yeah, so 100 grams there. And then as I'm walking around the store, there is sale yarn everywhere, which I just want to be like, scoop it all up and take it all. But I try to show some self-restraint. That was until I saw skeins of opal for, I thought it was $7. Actually, it was $5. $5 skeins of opal yarn. So I went a bit crazy. Let's see how to best show you these. I'll show them by series if I can. So I got these four. These are the dog and cat series, whatever you want to call it. And I think there are names, but maybe only on Ravelry. But anyway, it's the that's the color number. So for the blue, it is 11235. For the pinky orange, right there, it is 11230. The purple is 11236. And the gray is 11234. So the plan for these are socks. The pink and the purple will be for me, and the blue and the gray are for Glenn, or possibly gift socks, but that's the tentative plan. And I got two more. I got the holiday line in color 11246. It shows it backwards on my screen, so I'm trying to read backwards and without my glasses and all the things. And then this one's the last one. And I got this one, and honestly this one too, because they just seem kind of like Christmassy a little bit. And I do love a Christmas yarn, even if it's not intended to be. This one's kind of like an under the water or a sea theme, but I don't really see that in this color. This one is number 11140. So all of that, the candy skein and all the opals, that was a total of 700 grams. That was not in the cards for 2024 yarn purchases, but those 7 skeins cost me $45. I could not resist. And quite honestly, I was tempted to go get more, to the point I drove there the next day. Actually, because I did have a project in mind. What I wanted to do was buy a second skein of this for a colorwork sweater, because I thought this would make a nice colorwork yoke. So I show up. They were supposed to open at 11. It was the same day that I went to the hospital for my finger, and I had some time to kill in between picking up a prescription. So I went, and I'm there at 11:20. Like I said, they were supposed to open at 11. Door was closed. Lights were out. Later, I saw that they had posted the person who was supposed to be opening was running late and they weren't going to be there till noon. So ended up, I didn't buy more. I didn't need more. I will use something from my stash. It's totally fine. But when you see opal for $5 a ball, it is really, really, really hard to resist. And let me tell you, there were so many more colors that I could have gotten. I could have bought one of all of them, but I didn't. So, small win. So, in total, a big number came into my stash in December, 1,600 grams of yarn. And let me tell you, those little baubles did not offset that. I used or finished a total of 107 grams. So that came to a surplus of 1,493 grams for December. It was a big month. Wasn't my biggest month. I'm looking back at some of the others, but it was a big month. That means I ended the year plus 1,710 grams of yarn. So just over 17 skeins more came into my stash than what I used. I look back at some of the purchases that I made in 2024 and I think I could have had a negative balance. One of those purchases was the Nomad yarn, the undyed yarn that I bought. Was that November? Yes, I'm pretty sure. Yep, definitely November. So that was 1,000 grams right there. And then I bought the My Name is Neo, the undyed with the speckles from Wool to Dye For. That was another 1,000 grams. So had I not bought those two, I would be ahead. I would have knit more than I bought. But I bought those and I do not regret either of those purchases. And I don't regret the opal purchase either. So let me just put it a little bit into perspective. I'm going to compare this year to last year. So at the end of 2023, where was I at? End of 2023, I had plus 6,199 grams. So 61 skeins extra in my stash than what I'd started the year with. So you know what? Although I did not come out negative this year, I still beat last year. And that, in my book, is a win. It means that I am making progress in the right direction. And maybe 2025 is the year where I will finally break even. I just need this finger to get better so I can start doing more knitting because, yes, things are not getting finished or even really started the way that I want them to. So yeah, that is my 2024 recap for State of the Stash. How did you do with your yarn goals for 2024? And let me know down below, what are your goals for 2025? I'm so curious to know what everyone has in mind for this year, or I should say this upcoming year. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you for joining me. And as always, I appreciate your support towards my goals. And if I can help support you in some way, I am more than happy to do that. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.